everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. So today we are talking blackberries, and more importantly, eating and preserving blackberries. So here my husband is covering up our blackberry bushes. That was just a fine mesh cloth because our blackberries are thornless and the birds like to land on them and eat them all. And we're so lucky because we actually have public land around here that does not get sprayed, that we were able to pick over a gallon of fresh blackberries from, which is so wonderful. And we're actually going to plan on going back because there was more than we could even eat. And of course we wanted to leave some for the birds and everything, and I was just so excited about that. So today I'm going to be using those fresh blackberries to make a blackberry cobbler, some blackberry jam, and I'm also going to be freezing some. And I learned a new trick from another YouTuber that I want to show you guys. It makes it so easy to freeze blackberries so they don't stick together. This is actually a candle from one of my friends. It's called Honey Glow Candles, and they smell amazing. And the best part is she uses essential oils, so they are non-toxic fragrance, which I hate artificial fragrances. They give me a headache. So this is a wonderful option if you're looking for a natural option for candles. So here I am measuring out some blackberries. I'm going to be using Shay Elliott's recipe. It is a honey sweetened jam. It's my favorite recipe. Over the years, if you've followed me, you've seen me make blueberry jam, strawberry jam, probably blackberry jam at some point, and I always like to use this recipe from Shay Elliott. But the new thing I'm trying is I'm going to be trying it's not her method, but she talks about it, the old English way of preserving, which is called hot packing. So whatever you're making, in this case I'm making blackberry jam, I'm gonna heat it up, do all the wonderful things that jam does, and I'm going to put it inside of sterilized jars, and I'm gonna put a fresh canning lid and a ring on there, and then I'm just gonna turn them upside down. And as the blackberry jam cools, it's going to create a seal on its own. It's just gonna create a suction cup and seal the jar. Now, this may be controversial. I know that there are a lot of people who stand by the ball canning jar methods, and I totally understand, especially if you are a newbie. Do not take any of my advice as gospel. I want you to do your own research. Do not try anything that you are not comfortable with, and don't leave any rude comments because they will get deleted. But if the jars don't seal on this, that's the great thing about it. Immediately, so you're able to either use that product up immediately or stick it in the fridge until you're ready to use it. So it's great. So this recipe is 4 cups pureed blackberries, in this case, 1 cup of honey, and 3 tablespoons of pectin. And then you just put it in a saucepan and let it simmer for about 15 minutes until it starts foaming and getting thick, and then you can put it into your sterilized jars, fresh canning lid, fresh ring, and then flip them over, leave them for 24 hours, and it should create a seal. Now, like I said, when you're using something not as acidic, something like peppers or tomatoes, some tomatoes aren't as acidic, like yellow tomatoes, you're going to want to use, a lemon juice or a vinegar. In this case, blackberries are extremely acidic, and I'm also using the pectin, so I'm not concerned about that in this case. Like I said, use your own judgment, do your own research, and do what you're comfortable with. So if you're like me, you are starting to experience the summer slog, as I call it. It is going to be in the 90s every day this week, and I'm having to get up early, water the garden, do my weeding, do whatever I need to do, and then pretty much go inside and get things done inside while it's so hot. I mean, it's just incredibly hot, and I love it because I love summer, spring and summer. I love fall too, but I'll be honest, I love every season but winter, really. I love Christmas, and that's about it. So I had my little helper here, and she's always just right there at my heels, so I pick her up and just let her watch everything I'm doing, and she loves it. She is just my little helper. So I was getting these sterilized jars out, and I was getting all the lids out and just putting them on a clean tea towel, and she was just so interested by that. So I've also noticed, and I don't know if I've gotten a specific comment on a video or in real life, but I've noticed that I do have a scowl on my face at some points in my videos. And I've actually learned from other YouTubers or content creators, I think that's a strong word, I'm not really a content creator, but they get a lot of comments about how they're not smiling, or how they look miserable, or how they look tired in their videos. And I just want to ask these people, do you go around your house with like a permanent smile on your face like a clown the entire day? I want to know, because when I'm focused doing something, I'm not going to look extremely just, yay, yes, this is so great. I'm not bungee jumping or skydiving or doing something. I'm not riding a roller coaster. I'm not going to look like I'm just, enamored by, what I'm doing. But I do enjoy what I do when I post these homemaking videos, and I enjoy what I do. Yes, it gets hectic. Most of the time, I have 3 kids. I'm juggling that and doing what I'm doing, so I'm not just gonna look extremely happy like a Barbie. That's not gonna happen. So every time I see those comments on a YouTuber's video or on a reel on Instagram, I want to ask those people, like, whenever you're doing dishes or loading the dishwasher, mowing the lawn, vacuuming, do you look extremely happy? I want to know. So if you guys know, please let me know in the comments. So I was actually able to get a lot of jam from a gallon of, I didn't even use a gallon, so I ended up using about 6 cups of blackberries. I split one recipe. I split it in half because I did not have enough pectin on hand to do another full batch. So that turned out wonderfully, and I'm hoping that we get to go back and I can make more, because we tasted this jam and it's wonderful. So it is not even going to last that long. We pretty much go through almost an entire jar with a meal now if we're eating biscuits or something. So it's just, when you have a lot of kids, they love their jam. But I'm really glad that it doesn't have a ton of sugar in it. I do love sugary jams. They don't, I'm not somebody who tries to completely avoid sugar. White refined sugar, certainly, but we definitely eat sugar. So, but the honey sweetened jam does give it a lovely flavor. So here, this is actually my recipe, and I'm hoping to get it on the blog, but this is a sourdough blackberry cobbler. So it's half a cup of sourdough starter, half a cup of half a cup of whole milk. In this case, I used raw milk, which I was able to get from a local farm. And if you know me, then you know I'm so excited about that, because I haven't been able to get that in our area without having a herd share, which is too expensive for us in this season of life. So half a cup of whole milk, half a cup of active sourdough starter, and then half a cup of melted salted butter. And then I put a full cup of brown sugar, and here I'm doing a cup of flour, just all-purpose flour, and then it's half a teaspoon of salt, and then a teaspoon and half a teaspoon of baking powder, and I think that's right. I wrote it down, so I'll have to make sure, but I will be putting that recipe on the blog. And I was really interested to see if I let this ferment on the counter for 6 hours-ish, if it would give it a sour flavor. I was really interested because I've never, made a sourdough cobbler before. There was a recipe floating around Instagram of a cobbler that was made in a cast iron, and it was very enjoyable, but it didn't have that really caramelized, sweet, chewy, chewy cobbler flavor, if you know what I mean. When you just bite into a cobbler and you can taste the caramelization of the fruit and it's really chewy, this cobbler was not that. So I wanted to try to make my own sourdough cobbler recipe, and it actually turned out wonderfully. So here I had other little helpers who had just came in from playing in the pool, they really wanted to help me with the blackberries, and you can see why, because they're stuffing their faces. So the trick is to freezing a fruit, whether it's blueberries, blackberries, strawberries, lay it out on a single layer on a cookie sheet, stick it in the freezer for an hour. Then you just take it out, break them all apart, and put them in a Ziploc bag, and they don't stick together, and the juice, it just doesn't kind of melt it together. You know, whenever you get fruit from the store and it's just all in a big ball and you have to like use a hammer to break it apart, this was not this way. So I have my cast iron, and I'm putting this, the blackberry mixture into here. The reason it's purple is because I just used the same bowl that I was pureeing the blackberries in for the jam, so it actually gave it a really nice purple color, and I might just do that anyways, just puree a few blackberries and then mix in the rest of the ingredients so it gives it just a hint of the blackberry flavor in the actual batter. Never thought of doing that before until I made the jam. So I put melted butter in the bottom, then I just spread this all out, and then I'm going to put 2 cups of blackberries on top. Now these were fresh berries obviously, but you could use frozen berries, and you could use any berry you want. If you've ever made a cobbler, you know that it's just amazing. One time I did peaches with the other sourdough recipe, and it was actually really good. So then I just put 2 tablespoons of brown sugar on top of these berries, and then you're gonna bake at 350 for about 45 minutes. So it's gonna vary depending on your oven. I actually had other things in my oven at this point, and I think it made it take a little bit longer. So I need to make this again and work that completely out before I post the recipe to the blog. But we got some vanilla ice cream, of course, to eat with this. It was so wonderful, especially warm. So, and I learned that there's actually only one brand at Walmart that actually only has 4 ingredients, and it's actual ice cream. So if you've been seeing everything from Breyer's ice cream about how they can't even put the words ice cream on their packaging anymore because there isn't any cream and there isn't any milk in their actual ice cream. So, you know, that's... So I'm just using the blackberry jam after it has set. This is the next day on some homemade biscuits. These are not sourdough. And in the left-hand corner, if you can see my hydrangeas, they're supposed to be blue, but because of a deficiency in the soil, they're purple, but they're still beautiful. I don't even care. Purple is one of my favorite colors. So thank you guys so much for joining me today, and I'll see you next time. Bye!